All right, YouTube, this Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit, back with another video. It's Saturday morning, so this video is so debaucherous we wasn't even going to play it on a Sunday. Now, you've been seeing the media pushing Kamala Harris as if she has the black community vote. But let me tell you, the black community has always been conservative in their thinking. The black community used to respect their church. A Kamala Harris presidency is not only a threat to our constitutional republic, it is a threat to the world. They have an agenda that is so nefarious, it's biblical, it's of a biblical proportion. Now, you have them always complaining about a Christian right. You know, the left can't stand the Christian right. And we're going to delve into why they can't. Now, we already know, and we've been talking, that Kamala Harris is actually Indian, and she practiced Hinduism growing up. You know, not Christianity, not Islam, Hinduism. So she's allegedly a black woman now. And she knows our values and our traditions because the AKAs taught her, and the boule is behind her. But they must be stopped. They must be stopped. And I'm going to show you why when you watch these clips. You know, Obama got the black vote, and he was an advocate for only the LGBT community. Obama was the first one to pass that men could marry men. Kamala performed the first actual ceremony of same-sex marriage in California. Now, their agenda is so nefarious, you can tell it's from the globalists because it's infected the very Olympics of the world. So at what point do we realize that other countries will push back against America's debaucherous behavior? We will never have a real relationship with the Middle East, Russia, China, or no other country. We will just be on a steady erosion and implosion of our own society. Now, a lot of men, so-called Christian men or whatever, they get in the comments and, you know, we'd rather vote for, why y'all want to vote for Trump and why you don't like Kamala. I'm going to show you this clip and we're going to talk about it. And you can see that this is strongly a battle against good and evil. So check out this clip. It's for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act for education and commentary. Check out this.
Hi everyone, it's Kamala Harris. Each day we are seeing our rights and freedoms under attack, including the right of everyone to be who they are, love who they love, openly and with pride. So as we fight back against these attacks, let's all remember, no one is alone. We are all in this together, and your vote is your power. So please make sure your voice is heard this November and register to vote at vote.gov.
Can I get an amen?
Amen! Now on with the show.
And remember, you better vote.
Several days later.
Oh, here you listen, you better make it entrance. It is on now. This is it, you guys.
That opening ceremony for the France Olympics is creepy as hell. That is some next level demonic stuff. I mean, you saw the blue people, the, separated heads, the drag queens. That is a very ominous setting, and they expect people to act like that's normal. That's a great way not to watch the Olympics right there, to start it out like that.
I don't know if some of you guys seen the BET Awards. The BET Awards had all the fire and brimstone of a definite satanic ritual. What is it about the left that moves this country so far toward Satanism, trafficking, sacrifices, humiliation rituals? You have to know that Biden wasn't the one pulling the strings and running this country. It was a hidden force, and that same hidden force is what made them stage a coup and remove Joe Biden and replace him with Kamala Harris without one single vote. Nobody has voted for Kamala Harris as a nominee, but she's been put in that place. So the threats to democracy that they claim are themselves projecting onto others, because there is no way that they can be a party of democracy when they are pushing far left agendas that threaten the very fiber of this country. You know, it was said that America was founded on Judeo-Christian ethic, and it was a Christian nation. What makes these Democrats so upset about the Ten Commandments? You know, the Ten Commandments is respected by Christian, Jews, and Muslims alike. So why wouldn't the Ten Commandments be good in public schools versus gender reassignment and things of that nature messing with your kids? I'm going to show you the rest of this video, and you got to think about this. Who's going to fight the wars? Because at some point, with her at the helm and these Democrats at the heel, we will be engulfed in more wars. Joe Biden had already set the stage to initiate the draft. But who's going to go fight? And once this country gets engaged in battle on our own shores, who's going to defend these leftist women? And if by some divine chastisement we are overtaken by China and Russia, they will weed out what they perceive to be threats to humanity, to culture, to divine right and heritage. And they will fight in this country door to door. I wonder, will the AKs and the likes of Roland Martin be mobilized to deal with the ramifications of a global war? Allegedly, a possible global war. Will they fight, or will they send your kids to lose their lives to uphold this?
All right, guys. So what you just saw there was one of the first campaign ads for Kamala Harris's presidential run, which was to feature drag queens, right? Which I think is representative of the priorities of the Kamala Harris campaign, which is to appeal to identity politics and the woke mob, and to not talk about any real policies or solutions. Okay, so this is the type of virtue signaling that we're going to get. But this virtue signaling is, I think, a sign of what's to come for this country if Kamala Harris becomes president. Okay, we will officially be in clown world. Okay, I believe we're already there, but I'm just saying, if Kamala Harris became president, you're going to see a lot more of this, because these individuals will become emboldened, extremely emboldened, and in fact, they already are. Okay, to the point where
on many levels, Kamala Harris may replace the United States flag with the LGBT flag of inclusion. Kamala Harris may say that the American flag is a reminder of patriarchy and white supremacy and all those other buzzwords that she uses, and maybe we'll even replace the American flag with the rainbow flag, give NATO power over the United States. And she will be the one who attacks her political opponents. She got the playbook from Joe Biden. But listen what they're actually voting for. This is what you guys want.
The leaders of the Olympics feel comfortable enough to have a full-blown blasphemous drag queen show at the Olympics opening ceremony. Yes, and a lot of people are backlashing against this because there's a whole lot of symbolism in this that I think a lot of people are going to find to be disrespectful and very, very, very weird, right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and play this clip because they had a drag show for the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Okay, this is the world that we're living in. This is what the West has. Okay, so this is probably one of the most controversial parts of the opening ceremony. Okay, because what you have here are a bunch of drag queens at what looks like a rendition of the Last Supper. Okay, if you see this symbolism right here is the crown in the middle, which basically is representative of the crown of thorns, okay, which is what Jesus...
Let me say this to the Christian people. Doesn't this blatantly look as if this is the Antichrist? That America has become the whore of Babylon, making all nations drunk with sin? Do you see the spiritual wickedness to portray Jesus and undermine the Christian ideology with all this blasphemous material is a direct assault on God and country. They've been attacking Christianity for months, undermining it, subtly putting subjective images in the minds of already weak people. You have a whole sector of the black community, black women, who ignore her record of persecuting and oppressing black people, voting for her just off identity, just so they can be drag queens and be butch and use the drugs that come across that border with impunity, while she undermines the very fiber of this country. They said that Trump was the biggest threat to democracy. Clearly, at this point, you can see who is the threat to their so-called democracy. If you can't see the evil and wickedness in this nominee and in that party, you may be spiritually unalive and you may already be doomed. And that's why you can't see the truth.
Okay, when he was crucified. And this person in the middle, again, clearly is supposed to be Jesus. And everybody else's table is supposed to be this person's disciples, including a child who's at the table as well, too. So somebody please educate me, right? Please inform me. Why in the world would you have a child at a hyper-sexualized rendition of the Last Supper featuring a bunch of drag queens? Because, again, I don't know about you guys, but this is definitely hypersexual. And you have a child at the table. Why? Why is a child a part of this? Again, they'll say, oh, well, you are hateful if you point out the fact that some of these agendas seem to be targeting children, right? They'll say, oh, that's hate speech. It's like, no, it's not hate speech. This is me pointing out what you guys are making obvious, which is that for whatever reason, there seems to be an obsession with having children around this stuff. Now, me personally, again, I don't think it's appropriate for children to be around these sexualized performances because these performances are sexual in nature. Now, again, I understand their argument that, oh, well, we want kids around because we don't want them to grow up and become transphobes and homophobes, right? That's their argument. But you can do that in ways that don't include children being exposed to sexualized performances, okay? I think there are ways to do that that don't involve this, okay? But this is what they're hell-bent on doing. And if you speak out against it, if you speak up against it, you say, hey, I don't think this is right. This is kind of disrespectful for various reasons. Again, they're going to say that you're a bigot, right? You're hateful for saying that, yeah, I don't like this. So again, this is what they're doing at the Olympics, going full-blown blasphemy, okay? Mocking the Last Supper story that is in the Bible, okay? And, you know, this is mainstream, right? Mainstream. Now, here's the thing. For some people that say, oh, you're being too sensitive, let me ask you, would anybody be okay if a bunch of drag queens did some rendition of some Islamic tradition or ceremony? Like, for example, if they did some rendition of the pilgrimage to Hajj, right, where they go to Mecca and then they walk around the Kaaba.
He has a very interesting point that he's going to make, and I'm making another one. The Islamic world looks at America. You wonder why there can never really be any peace in the Middle East? Because most of those countries are a theology. And they look at the blasphemous, wicked, and evil behavior of America. And they know that even an alliance with America goes against their religion and their culture. Could you imagine that? Even an alliance, even friendship with America is blasphemous to most of the Islamic world. So they play nice with the politics, but they look at this and they look at there's a mission coming out of Washington, D.C. to destroy the nuclear family, to undermine religion, and to usher in the Antichrist. Babylon the Great is trying to make the whole world drunk and laden with sin. And you're watching it in front of your face, and you still won't say that a Kamala Harris presidency would not be good for the country, would not be good for communities, families, nor the world. Kamala Harris giggles and cackles and laughs because she knows the evil agenda that will herd the rest of you into hell like sheep.
Right, that cube. If they were doing that, do you think that people would say that's okay? Right. Another question is, would they ever even consider doing something like that? Right. They probably would never even consider it because of all the outrage that would happen as a result. But hey, in 2024, these people feel like it's openly okay to do things like this, in which, again, they are trying to act out stories in the Bible. However, again, the symbolism here doesn't seem to be very biblical, or doesn't align with what is in the Bible, right? I mean, again, it's just one of these things that you see quite often in the West, which is the mocking of Christianity. And for whatever reason, people think that this is totally fine and totally legit, but you will never see this. You will never see this for any other religion outside of Christianity, where people, again, openly mock the religion for entertainment purposes. Yeah, so totally weird stuff here. Again, I'm not entirely sure exactly what is so entertaining about this, right? I've never been to a drag show. I've seen these videos online. This is about as close as I've come to going to a drag show.
I can't wait to see the comments from the trolls that start trolling me about this video, because they seem to support the interference with the development of children and the undermining of the country. They might be some very degenerate individuals, because this is nefarious and there's a lot of sinister things going on with this White House. They undermined and threw a coup on Joe to place in this Hindu woman, and now she furthers Obama's agenda, which is destruction of the nuclear family and patriarchy. And the sororities that pledge Greek, that worship Dionysus, and they worship evil and Satanism, allegedly. I want you to pay attention to what you really are voting for.
Hopefully I never go to a drag show. I don't think I ever will. I'm not entirely sure why I would. But I don't understand the entertainment factor here. I'm not sure exactly what is so fun about watching this type of entertainment. I really don't get it personally. But what I do know is that whether you're a Christian or not, I don't think anybody should be okay with this at the Olympics, right? I think that this is too far. But again, unfortunately, this has become all too commonplace because they just couldn't have their little drag show and keep it moving, right? They couldn't do that, okay? They never can do that. They always have to turn it up to a level like this, right? And then they want to get upset and cry hate and bigotry when people push back. When people say, hey, I don't like you mocking our religion, they say, oh, well, you're just transphobic. You just hate trans people and drag queens if you don't like them openly mocking Christianity, right? This is what they do, okay? So, I mean, at this point, I don't think I will be supporting the Olympics, right? I won't be watching it. They will not be getting my view because I cannot support this type of blasphemy on the world stage. It's just sad that we've gotten to the point where this type of blasphemy is acceptable on the world stage because I do not think that these people would mock anybody else's religion the way that they just did for Christianity. But, you know, hey, this is where we're at in the West. It seems as if, again, this is now par for the course. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share. Black conservative.
He has a point, because what is this all-out assault on Christianity? What is this all-out assault on the nuclear family? We've stated before on this channel several times, everything that God has said don't do in Scripture, everything the Most High has forbidden, the Democrats have made it mainstream under the guise of inclusiveness. That's evil in itself, to undermine you and if you, like he said, if you push back, then you're a bigot or you homophobic. This is what this country is finna come down to. Will you stand on the sideline and watch as Satanism and demonic rituals and humiliation rituals become the norm in this new world that came from the architect of evil that's behind the Democratic Party? You voted for Obama because he had a tan. You know, Obama had a Kenyan father and a white mother. And clearly, he was American because his mother is from Arkansas. Or not Arkansas, somewhere out there like that. But the thing about it is, he was groomed by elites. He was groomed and put in position by secret societies. He did nothing for Black Americans. He did everything to usher in what you just seen. And Biden wouldn't push that agenda as much as they wanted to, because Biden at his heart is still a bigot. So he would not step out and push the agenda the way they are. Do you remember when they had Juneteenth and Biden was not all there, and they put on a humiliation ritual with the black man in a dress kissing his hand? Biden would have never allowed that had he not been in cognitive decline. You know that. So on his way out the door, that was his humiliation ritual. To be standing there and a man in a dress grabs his hand and kisses his hand. Jim Crow Joe would have never had allowed that. But that's what they did for him on his way out, humiliating him. And then they put this Hindu woman in front of you who's been playing like she's black, with all the footage of everything she's done to black people. And women are getting behind her just like they got behind anything that's anti-man. They wish to usurp the power of men and also usurp the power of God. It's evil at the core. That's why you see all these women, that's supporting her. They're angry, they're disgruntled, they're hurling insults, they're haughty. They have the Jezebel spirit all over them as they watch their sons turned into trans women and watch their daughters become butch women. And they watch the blasphemy and destruction of Christian norms. We are in a battle against good and evil. Pick a side. That's it for today. Signing to you out of Detroit. This is Detroit's HPTV. Keep your head on the swivel. Support Detroit's Black Thought and Action Collective, nonprofit out of Detroit. And as always, salute to the patriots. Pay attention. Keep your head on the swivel.